Hello once again, indie game fans. This is Ole Gamer Joe here with another review for you today. If it's your first time here at the channel, we welcome you. Do consider hitting that subscribe button below for tons of indie game reviews and previews. Today we are reviewing Natsuki Chronicles, an action-packed shoot-'em-up from publisher Rising Star Games. I played the game on PlayStation 4. It will also be available on the Steam PC platform. My assumption is that this one should be out there pretty soon, but we were not given a release date nor a price at the time of this review. Natsuki Chronicles is a side-scrolling shoot-'em-up that takes place in the Ginga Force universe. Ginga Force is a game that we reviewed on this channel way back when, and I actually remember enjoying it quite a bit. Anyways, our story begins with an epic space battle full of explosions as we are introduced to lead character Natsuki. Natsuki here works for an elite force known as the RDF. The RDF are essentially a police force for the game's home planet Saventia. Throughout the story, Natsuki communicates with an intelligent AI built into her ship known as the RDF Navi. Her missions throughout the 10+ levels include everything from stopping ships from illegally transporting weapons to saving a vegetation factory. And as you probably could have guessed, storyline is not the main attraction here, but at least some degree of effort did go into it. Natsuki Chronicles features two main modes of gameplay. You have that story mode, which I was just referring to, and then you have an arcade mode, and the gameplay is pretty basic in terms of shmups, as you can shoot your main weapon using the X button and shoot behind you using square. Heck, you can actually even do both at the same time, though this will result in dealing out less damage. Your health is represented by a shield, and should you take too much damage, it's gonna be game over. Thankfully, your shield can recharge over time, and using the R2 button, you also have the ability to block shots and do even more as you upgrade your ship. The game feels great actually. I didn't have any performance issues. In fact, it manages to maintain 60 frames per second throughout, and I found that the control scheme was simple but effective and quite responsive. Regardless of which mode you decide to play, you'll more or less go through the same levels, with the exception being that in the story mode you'll occasionally be greeted with a few training levels that will show you how to use some of the game's advanced weapons. What really differentiates the two modes though is the amount of leveling up and grinding that you'll do throughout the story versus the sheer adrenaline-fueled battle for survival that is the arcade mode. But let's talk about the story mode first, which offers two difficulties to start with, and eventually more that can be unlocked. Players are actually able to toggle between these difficulties at the start of each mission, and that was a godsend for Ole Gamer Joe, as I'm not the most skilled of shmup players, as most of you already know. So it was great to be able to get a feel for levels on easy, and eventually work my way up to the more rigorous challenges that normal presents. Natsuki Chronicles features a ton of different unlockables for your ship that you can earn by completing missions. Upon success, you'll earn credits that can be spent on new and more powerful weaponry, shields, and if you happen to be into cosmetics, you can even get new colors that can be unlocked for that ship. And it's a whole lot of fun to pair different combinations together in hopes of finding one that you truly enjoy, but you will have to do a little bit of experimentation. As much fun as it is messing around with different combinations and going through the story mode, it's actually the arcade mode that I felt like really shined in this title. The addition of online leaderboards gives this mode a competitive feel, and instead of earning experience and upgrades, you'll actually gain new random power-ups as you destroy enemies on screen. It's a bit more frantic, yes, but a hell of a lot of fun. Also, the more you play, the more credits you'll earn. Yes, you begin with just one credit to try to make it through on, and Lord knows, Ole Gamer Joe wasn't going to be able to pull that one off. Regardless of which mode you prefer, they're both entertaining and mechanically sound. I enjoyed the grind of the story mode and the more casual nature that the arcade mode provided. But graphically, as you can see in this footage, Natsuki Chronicles isn't all that impressive looking of a game, unfortunately. Explosions are a bit stale, and the low poly look is adequate at best. Enemy designs are pretty generic throughout, despite some decent boss encounters, and the backgrounds really aren't all that well detailed either. I did enjoy the anime art during moments where RDF or other characters would communicate with you, but it can be a bit hard to enjoy it when you're trying your best not to die. So overall, this one's not going to win any awards in the graphics department, but at the least the high energy soundtrack is pretty good. These synthy compositions are well designed and high in energy, accompanied by some great sounding explosions with that classic arcade crunch to them. So at least the sound design of the game makes up for the lack of visual fidelity. You are getting a native 4K resolution whether you play on a PS4 Pro or the PlayStation 5, but I don't really feel like that did the game any favors. I'm almost always itching for a good shoot-'em-up, and Natsuki Chronicles certainly scratched that itch. I had a great time earning experience and upgrading in the story mode, despite the fact that I didn't care all that much about the story itself. The arcade mode is truly thrilling and challenging, and the gameplay's great with a lot of customizable options that are welcome. I did find the visuals to be lacking, but at least the high-energy soundtrack was captivating, accompanied by some great sound effects. There is no shortage of great shmups out there, and you can add Natsuki Chronicles to that ever-growing list. We would like to take a moment now to thank our great indie warriors who support us through channel memberships. We have Mitchell Hall, Kevalo Bunny, Bill Tikaz, Christian Cruz, and Wesley William Semple. Thank you so much for supporting I Dream of Indie. You truly are the heartbeat of this channel. Everybody else should head down to the description box below where there are a ton of ways to support us. However you end up doing so, it really means the world, and we thank you so much.